the smoke around Dylan Raiola's recruitment didn't start leaking a little smoke. It came billowing out all at once. And we got Chad Simmons on the show to break down what is going on. Is Dylan Raiola really going to flip his commitment from Georgia to Nebraska? We got intel right now on the number 3 ranked QB in the country. But first, guys, hit subscribe for me. We want to grow this page. It's been an exciting first few months. We got it over 30K, but we need you guys to jump on board. Hit subscribe for me, please. Okay, let's bring on Director of Recruiting for On3, Chad Simmons. Chad, we're a week away from signing day, and I can't believe we're sitting here talking about Dylan Raiola potentially flipping to Nebraska. Take the people behind the scenes. How did we get here? What's going on?
Well, I think, like you said, it kind of blew up really pretty quickly. I believe, Monday evening, and when it kind of started to leak out, and it really, Georgia had an in-home with Dylan Raiola last week, and things seem to be still pretty strong there between him and Georgia. Been a long time commit. Was at pretty much every home game at Georgia this season. Has been pretty active with other guys as far as commits and recruiting players to Georgia. Then over the weekend, things started to. There's a little bit of buzz around him potentially maybe not getting to Georgia as soon as expected. He was supposed to be at Georgia this coming Saturday to start working out with the team in bowl preparation, and then just started picking up some steam and putting some pieces together about him maybe having a little bit of hesitation, and nothing on Georgia's end. Georgia was all in with Raiola, but maybe some want to take that one last trip before signing day. And Nebraska is that school that's always been down deep in that heart. And that's kind of how we got here. There was some communication between him and Nebraska. And then everything kind of exploded. That there was interest there on both sides. He set the OV up for this weekend. He wouldn't be moving to Georgia like expected. And here we are now with him still committed to Georgia, but things trending towards Nebraska.
And you're right. It's trending towards Nebraska, so much so that it sounds like it's all but a wrap once he arrives in Lincoln this weekend. Is that what's really happening?
We were just talking off air about another player, about how that stuff happens on campus and when it goes down. I mean, I think that's definitely a possibility. The timeline still kind of unknown exactly, when he'll make that final decision, whether he decides to stay with Georgia or flip over to Nebraska. What we do know, what we basically expect with confidence, is that he goes to Nebraska for an OV this weekend. Georgia was actually at his school this morning watching multiple staffers at Georgia, from Georgia at Buford, watching the team work out and, looking at some underclassmen and, of course, KJ Bolden too and guys like that. But I think all expectations are that Raiola will not be in Athens this weekend working out with Georgia, but instead will be an official visit to Nebraska. So once he gets there, wait and see.
Crazy that all this is happening after Kirby Smart's only in-home visit. Head coaches are only allowed one in-home visit during the contact period, so he already used it. Is Georgia actively trying to retain him, or are they just kind of like saying, hey, we're going to wait for him to make his decision and then deal with that?
Yeah, I think there's still communication, of course, with Georgia. Bobo is one coach there at Buford High School this morning. There's been a little bit of dialogue with the parents, mom and dad as well, from Georgia's side. And obviously, I think Georgia definitely would love to keep him in this class. They know if there's a little bit of hesitation or a little bit of doubt or whatever's leading Raiola to take this visit to Nebraska, they know that's his choice and his decision. They'd like to have him and retain him, but at the same time, they respect him and let him take his visits.
Man, Dylan Raiola transfers from Pinnacle High School in Phoenix, Arizona as a Georgia commitment. He goes to Buford High School, and he's going to leave Buford High School as a Nebraska commitment, most likely. Whew. That's some crazy stuff right there. So, Chad, what does Georgia do now? Do they need a second quarterback in this class? What do they do?
Well, they have Ron Puglisi, so obviously, that's the big one. Obviously he's locked in. He's already, planning to be there for bowl preparation practice and things like that. So they have him in place. They're still working. I think the number one priority for Georgia right now, talking quarterbacks, is they're trying to keep Carson Beck in Athens one more season. I think that's key. Right now things, according to Rusty Mansell and Dogs HQ and that staff, things are trending that way for Beck to return for another season. So I think that's key. But I don't think, based on what I'm hearing, Georgia goes out and just offers another quarterback on the high school side
Right.
for 2024. To try to add one, a very interesting one is Coulter Jen, who just played right here where I'm at yesterday to win a state championship for Perry. They offered him last week as a preferred walk-on. He had a monster season. He has offers from schools like App State, Coastal Carolina. Obviously Stetson Bennett was a walk-on at Georgia at one time too. So they're trying to get him as a preferred walk-on to add to this class in the quarterback room at Georgia. But right now, I would lean towards them not offering another 2024 high school quarterback if Raiola decides to go to Nebraska.
Man, and Ryan Puglisi, he committed first. He was on that commit list well before Dylan Raiola, and he had a bit of a cult following with that Georgia fan base because when Dylan Raiola committed, Puglisi said all the right things. He didn't flinch at all. And then when all this happens on Monday, all the smoke around Dylan Raiola happens, Ryan Puglisi, the very next morning, just happened to be doing his signing ceremony, signifying that he is ready to enroll at Georgia. And boy, are Georgia fans ready to see Ryan Puglisi after all of this Dylan Raiola drama. We talk about QB dominoes, and when we do, every move kind of disrupts another quarterback. So in this case, Dylan Raiola going to Nebraska, you got to think Daniel Kalin moves on, but he already flipped from Mizzou to Nebraska. What do you think happens with Daniel Kalin in his commitment to Nebraska if Dylan Raiola flips?
Yeah, I've talked to other people about this. It'd be Raiola from Ohio State to Georgia to Nebraska, and then Daniel Kalin, Missouri, Nebraska to the third school. I think, the word has hit this morning, he'll take an OB to Michigan State this weekend. So I think that's obviously one to watch. I think, obviously, when this news started to get to him and his family, they've done some homework and made some phone calls to see maybe what schools are still looking for quarterbacks in this class, and Michigan State is one. He's had a relationship there in the past. That's obviously a school in the Midwest, not too far from his home. So I think Michigan State obviously becomes one to follow, one to track with Daniel Kalin. But I think if things go as they're trending and Raiola ends up at Nebraska, I think Kalin ends up elsewhere.
QB dominoes, they're about to fall. A lot of major developments happening. We're just a week out from signing day. This is how it goes. Chad Simmons, thank you for joining us and dropping all this scoop on the Inside Scoop today. Appreciate you.
Anytime.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that content, be sure to subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel. We have a new page dedicated only to recruiting. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now.